It's time now for an in-depth look at the market news on this Friday, and for that, I'm joined on the line by Dr. Kim Seiwan, professor of economics at Ewha Women's University. Dr. Kim, thank you for coming on today.
Good afternoon.
Well, today it's been 100 days since Japan imposed its trade restrictions on Korea. This was ultimately economic retaliation for political issues. 100 days on, how are the two countries' economies doing?
Well, quite unexpectedly, Abe administration's export restriction on Korea is not much affecting Korean manufacturing so far. And the mutual delistings from the white list do not much affect each country either yet. There were quite a few times of Abe administration's permission on shipping the key materials to Korea. So given that circumstances, I think the administration has a big concern on related Japanese corporations' business situations. So I believe that this quiet and lukewarm situation lasts for a long time.
That's interesting because we understand that Korean companies are going to start running out of key materials they need from next month. What are those items and what can they do about that?
It looks that the three key materials on memory chip production have almost depleted stockpiles. At the beginning of Abe administration's export restrictions, it was said that the key three materials like hydrogen, fluoride, etching gas, and photoregistry altogether, maximum inventory stock period would be like 3 months. And it has been more than 3 months after the beginning of the restrictions in Korea. So given that situation, both of Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix production is pretty much stabilized, I think, due to timely purchases of materials from other sources like Taiwan, Europe, and domestic providers. So I have to say that even though the uncertainty between the two countries dominates the economic relation between the countries, the Korean manufacturers are doing pretty well over that Japan's restriction.
Well, that's good news for them. Samsung Electronics, which you mentioned, posted preliminary earnings better than expected for the third quarter, more than 7 trillion won, a little less than $6 billion. For Samsung's smartphone business, earnings were up 30% from the quarter before. What stands out to you in these numbers?
Samsung Electronics' 7.7 trillion won operating profit in quarter three exceeded market expectation almost by 10%. I think Samsung Electronics' major business are faring well against the headwinds, particularly the high sales of Galaxy 10 and Galaxy Note 10, and the higher popularity of Galaxy Folds are contributing to restoring Samsung's business. But if you take a look at the Samsung's profit against the last year's profit, that decreased by 50% still. So we have to take a good look at the fourth quarter's Samsung Electronics business and profits, whether they are really recovering from the depths of the slowing business.
Got it. Well, in the meantime, the U.S. and China are in trade talks this week in Washington. A report from Bloomberg says the U.S. is considering a currency deal with China. How would this fit into the bigger picture? And if there is a deal, big or small, what does it look like?
There is a possibility that China and U.S. can reach small deals, like by postponing tariffs on China's export to U.S. and China imports more agricultural products like soybeans and pork from United States. And if U.S. and China go through currency deal on today's meeting, it means that the Beijing and Washington together will appreciate yuan up to a certain level, which is enough to decrease China's trade surplus against the United States. And this is what exactly U.S. government did in 1985 over Japan's huge trade surplus against the United States. But since the Beijing and Washington are not ready for reaching the agreements as of now, we have to take a look at the last part of the negotiation between the two governments.
All right, Dr. Kim, we should know more this time tomorrow. We're going to have to leave it there for today, though. We appreciate your insights.
Thank you very much.